Well, the Thabo Bester case has been postponed to the 11th of October for further investigations. The convicted Facebook rapist and prison escapee had rubbed shoulders with his partner Nandipha Magudumana as they sat side by side alongside 10 other co-accused. eNCA's senior reporter Slindelo Masekane was there, and she joins me now to give us some context as to what exactly happened in court this morning. So Slee, good to have you back. Take us back to those couple of minutes ago when we saw all 12 accused appearing in court today. What happened?
Well, as you saw, brief appearance, but of course a lot being said inside the courtroom with regards to the manner in which Bester is being held at the Kgosi Mampuru prison, what he alleges, and some complaints coming from Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. I'm going to ask my colleague JK to just pan to my left where we are outside or behind the courthouse. And we are anticipating, of course, that a large convoy is going to be leaving the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court to officially transport Thabo Bester back to the Kgosi Mampuru prison. You would have seen a notice inside court that there was quite a heavy police as well as a heavy police presence, as well as the presence of the correctional services officials. And, you know, just ahead of court proceedings, we were being shoved and pushed back and being asked to move away from the dock so that law enforcement could be able to secure the courtroom. We told that it was for safety and security reasons, and you know, it was quite interesting to see just how many officials had been deployed in order to ensure Bester's appearance in Bloemfontein. This is the first time we are seeing Bester back in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court since his appearance when he was first deported from Tanzania. And from what we heard from his lawyer, he seems to have a number of complaints about how he is being treated at the Kgosi Mampuru prison. He claims that he is being held in handcuffs for hours on end, and also claiming that since his deportation, he's had a number of his items confiscated and has and doesn't know essentially where they are. So let's just take a listen to some of what was said before we anticipate, of course, the convoy that's going to take him back to Kgosi Mampuru. Before it leaves, let's just take a listen to what his lawyer had to say.
The instructions which I received from the fifth accused, just to place on record. Firstly, that he's been inhumanely treated at the Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Center. That he spends almost 23 hours being counted and in his cell.
How long?
23 hours per day, being cuffed and being served.
Handcuffed.
Handcuffed.
Every day.
On a daily basis. Worship, I can place it on record that before these proceedings I went to see the people accused in the cells, the court cells. He was still handcuffed, even though he was locked up in a cell, a holding cell. Worship, I believe that indeed those are inhumane conditions. And I hold instructions to make an application to the higher court pertaining those.
Well, Slee, apparently some items of the accused have also gone missing. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, many items, it seems, luxury items as well.
The items which are missing, which ought to be known by these members, worship, are an iPhone 14 Pro Max valued at 36,000 rands, Samsung S23 valued at 32,000 rands, Samsung Z4 valued at 40,000 rands, an iPod 16 valued at 18,000 rands, A MacBook Air 16 valued at 12,500 rands. A MacBook Pro 16 valued at 34,600 rands. A Burberry card holder valued at 15,500 rands. A pair of Burberry sunglasses valued at 11,500 rands. A pair of Tom Ford sunglasses valued at 9,500 rands. An HP laptop value 41,000 rands. An LV laptop bag, Louis Vuitton laptop bag, 51,000 rands. Marriage ring, 350,000 rands. And these are watches, Your Worship. An APX2, 2.5 million. There were two of those, Your Worship. An FM, 2.5 million, two of those as well. A Rolex O, 2.6 million rands, two of those. Just written as C, valued at 1,750 rands. A PP, valued at 1.9 million rands. Cash which is missing, 295,000 rands, South African rands, Worship. 36,000 US dollars. 7,200,000 Tanzanian, I don't know if they are dollars or what, Worship. And there's Zambian money, 1.4 million. European pounds, 500,000. Swiss francs, 150,000, Worship. Worship, all these items that I'm mentioning, they were reported stolen by accused number 5 at the Lanseria police station.
I've just consulted with my client earlier upon her being brought to this court. And out of the said consultation, it transpired that the manner in which she was transported from Kronstadt prison to this court had all the ingredients of indignity, and it was very inhumane. She was handcuffed, Your Worship, and as she was being transported, she actually questioned the manner in which she was to be transported, as in other instances when she was transported to this court, she was not transported in the manner that she was today. Her protest fell on deaf ears, and Your Worship can just imagine being in the back of a van and just being, you know, if that buggy or van, if the driver applies brakes, she doesn't have anywhere to hold. She was all over in the back of the van. She registered her complaint upon arrival in this court to the captain in charge of the cells. Your Worship, she was informed by the police officers who handcuffed her and put her in the van that they received instructions from above to treat her in the manner that I've delineated to this court. Your Worship, I've canvassed this issue as well and concerned with the captain who is in charge of the holding cells, and I received an undertaking that such situation shall not recur as she is transported back to Kronstadt. But I wish to state categorically, so Your Worship, that that type of treatment is really unbecoming and really violates accused number 4's right to be treated with the requisite dignity.
Well, I mean, Slee, if we listen to, I suppose, first and foremost, the list of the items that Bester says have gone missing, they could very well range in its millions of rands. Sinjolo Masikane, if you're still with me, I'm just reiterating the point, colleague, that if you would just go back to some of the items, the listed items that Thabo Bester says they have gone missing, you know, one could very well quantify them ranging into the millions. I mean, Rolex items, amongst others, Tom Ford sunglasses. These are quite expensive items here that he's declaring to have still not been accounted for.
Certainly so. That's what we're hearing from Bester's lawyer, who found it prudent to list those items to the magistrate to say that he wants the court to note that Bester is not only complaining about how he's being treated in prison, but claiming that a number of items of his have not been returned following his deportation from Tanzania. And I think you've heard from the bites that we played from those court proceedings from his lawyer. Is that it does seem as though the amounts, the items certainly amount to millions of rands. He also included not only like a laptop, but he also included items such as a wedding ring and currency in rands, in dollars, as well as Tanzanian and Zambian currency as well. So what I think I found quite interesting, and I think what many of our viewers would have wanted to see during these court proceedings was, of course, Bester and Dr. Nandipa sitting side by side inside that courtroom. I can tell you now that officially Bester has left the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, his convoy leaving just moments ago. While in fact we were playing those sound bites from court proceedings, also quite a heavily armed as well as many law enforcement and DCS officials that is now officially on its way back to the Kgosi Mampuru prison, of course. And I think for his lawyer, what was important was for the court to note that Bester is unhappy with the manner in which he's being held at the Kgosi Mampuru prison, but also for the court to note those items that he claims are missing. And like I said, the interaction, I think, between Bester and Dr. Nandipa was very interesting to observe, as well as his interaction with the rest of the co-accused. You could seemingly tell that these are people that know each other. You know, they were fist pumping, they were laughing, and you know, there was actually a moment between Dr. Nandipa and Bester which looked quite intimate, you know, where they were gazing into each other's eyes, where they were holding each other's hands, and you know, just trying to catch up as much as they can before court proceedings began.
Also, in as far as investigations are concerned right now, Slee, I mean, we understand that this postponement to the 11th of October is due to further investigations. So it seems like there could still be more, you know, evidence being brought forward, perhaps even more witnesses. But again, the question you always ask the state when you have an opportunity, colleague, could there be more imminent arrests that can be expected in this case?
You know, by the time we were expecting to resume with these court proceedings, we were told that at least 3 more arrests were going to be expected, and those arrests have not taken place as yet. So it does beg the question whether or not we will be seeing more arrests. It hasn't been ruled out, and even if you speak to the police, they will tell you that investigations are ongoing, hence we've postponed for further investigations. But this is final further investigations, meaning that we're close to the end of investigations. We're close to seeing exactly who the state believes it has enough evidence against to successfully prosecute aiding and abetting Thabo Bester and assisting him in escaping from the Mangaung Correctional Facility. But if you speak to those who are watching quite closely the developments in this court case, they will tell you that questions are still being asked around high-ranking officials. Where are the high-ranking officials? Where are those arrests going to take place? Will they take place? And are we seeing just those officials like those we see in the dock who don't hold high positions, it basically just taking the fall? Because many experts say that it couldn't have been just those we see in the dock who played a role. They don't have the authority to be able to authorize an escape of this magnitude. So I think come the 11th of October, we will be watching quite closely whether or not we see any more arrests, but more particularly whether we see any high-ranking officials also in the dock.
Yeah, I think before I let you go, Slindolo Masikane, I wanted to also touch on, some other representations being made regarding, other co-accused in the dock. For example, one of the accused mentioning that it seems there's a witness that's been responding to any of their WhatsApp messages, but equally so, seeing another accused attorney withdrawing formally from representing them.
Certainly so, Dumelo. That was one of, or some of the submissions we heard from the lawyers representing some of the accused who needed the court to note that before the accused had known or were made aware of the witness list, there is one particular witness who has been communicating or posting on their Facebooks or their social media statuses rather, and that one of the accused had also, without knowing that that particular person was a witness, had WhatsApp communication with them. So it was important for the court to note that because you would remember that some of the bail conditions that are included for the accused is that they are to have zero contact with any witnesses at all. Otherwise, they will be, going against their court or their bail conditions, and meaning that, of course, their bail could be revoked and they could find themselves back in prison. So it was important for the lawyers to make the magistrate aware so that this doesn't become an issue later on.
All right, we'll leave it there. eNCA senior reporter Slindolo Masikane outside the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court for us. This is the back of the Thabo Bester case, seeing a postponement, a final further investigation postponed at that for the 11th of October this year.